What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Farzy show. My name's Mark Farzy. We got so much to get to because that football game last night lasted 17 hours. At least it felt like that. It reminded me almost of Rob Thompson's comments about playing at Citizens Bank Park, 3.5 hours of hell, or whatever the quote was, right? 3 hours of hell. There at Lincoln Financial Field, it was like 5 hours of hell having to watch that particular game. Hey, look, Tanner McKee's actually fun to watch because he can move the football. It was just unfortunate that his receivers couldn't catch the football for him, one of them being in the end zone. Look, in my mind, when you watch one player play better than another player, that player that's playing better is the better player. That player is trying to win a better job in training camp, in preseason. And Tanner McKee is a guy that looks like he is winning a better job in the preseason by the way he's playing. And Marcus Mariota looks like a guy that is losing a job with the way that he is playing. But Nick Sirianni, we'll let you hear from him after the game, said that is Marcus Mariota's job. So we will get to that conversation today. We'll get to the conversation of Tyler Steen, his struggles in the game last night. Nakobe Dean had a major gaffe. I will say this: it is very difficult for any defensive player to hit a quarterback or really a player at any time. And I think he made a mistake. He did. He made a mistake. That's the bottom line. You have to be in better control. But to anticipate a quarterback, to ask a defensive player, and this is the rule in the NFL. This is not my problem with the Eagles or the officiating last night at all. They did the right thing. They called the penalty because it was a penalty. But, man, it is tough for a defensive player, not just Nakobe Dean, any defensive player to hold up when you're going full speed. You see a quarterback, you see a runner with the football close to the goal line, and you have to judge in about a 4-yard distance. All right, do I hit him or is he going to slide? And he was already wound up to make a hit. Just then, Thompson Robinson went into slide, and then he hit his helmet. And then, of course, he came up with the big play in knocking that football loose. So we'll get into that conversation today, what Nakobe Dean looked like. Stock up, stock down throughout the entire Eagles roster. 11 penalties last night? We'll hear from Nick Sirianni on that. And just a slew of injuries. Jeez Louise, ladies and gentlemen. Tyree Cleveland, stretcher. Moro Jomo, stretcher. Nolan Smith, he seems to be fine now. Josh Andrews has an ankle injury. He should be fine. Zach McPherson, most difficult injury to assess right now, but he might be the most serious as well. Olamide Zaccheaus seems like he's fine as well, but 6 guys go down for the Eagles last night. The one that really made us all gasp was Nolan Smith. And sure enough, I just put out a tweet about how excited I was about Nolan Smith. I am so excited. My level of comparison for excitement when it came to Nolan Smith was I am Sam Bradford, Green Bay preseason excited. That's the level of excitement I'm at when it comes to Nolan Smith and Sidney Brown, as a matter of fact, who had a quieter game last night. But still, I'm expecting big things from him in his rookie season. So Nolan Smith goes out there and he gets hurt. Unfortunately, he has a couple quarterback rushes. He's in on a couple defensive plays. He played really well for the time that he was in there, including the pursuit that he made on the play that he was actually hurt. So we'll talk about that today. But it's just still good to see Nolan Smith out there nonetheless play football. But 11 penalties, 6 guys hurt. By my count, he had 4 drops just on Tanner McKee alone, and then Marcus Mariota sailed 2 really bad passes, and one of those passes came down as an interception. I think both of them were actually to Grant Calcaterra, so we'll break that down. It was a wild game last night. We'll also get into the Phillies starting a 3-game series with the Washington Nationals tonight in D.C. They play 2 games in Nationals Park, and then they go to Williamsport to play the Little League World Series game. So that's a fun little thing there. And we also have the latest on James Harden, because you're not going to believe this. So James Harden spoke in China, and then James Harden spoke again yesterday in Houston. He was at a basketball camp, his own basketball camp, and he was back in the States. And he was doing an interview, and he was actually asked the question after now, good for the reporter. They got the good soundbite and all that. But they actually asked James Harden, is your relationship with Daryl Morey beyond repair? Yeah, I think so, was his answer. Can you repair that relationship? I don't think so. All right. Well, really, after you called the guy a liar and you repeated it, so you were absolutely clear? Oh, it's beyond repair. However, he did say, for all the people, and myself included, that were saying that James Harden was going to put on the old fat suit there, which is a possibility. He said he is going to stay in shape this offseason. And he's willing to wait it out for as long as it takes. Cool. This will be fun. We're all having fun. All right, let's start it off with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, before I even get to anything regarding anything that really matters in the game, there's one thing I got to talk about. And that's my man, Sidney Brown. Okay. I am still riding the Sidney Brown hype train, despite the fact that he did not lead the team in tackles last night. Zach Cunningham actually led the team in tackles, and Kayvon Wallace led the team in tackles last night. You had a couple of guys that go out there in this game and have 7 tackle performances. Wallace had 6 solo tackles. Cunningham had 4 solo tackles. Zach McPherson was getting picked on something terrible. He had 6 tackles, 1 solo. But here's what I got to get into. So Sidney Brown goes into the game last night, and before Scott Graham could even announce that Sidney Brown was in the game, he said, "All right, here's Sidney Brown," and boom, made a play. Came from the other side of the field, something he did regularly in that Ravens game. Came from the other side of the field to make a play on the ball, and it was fantastic. Now, after that, he really didn't do much. However, in the second quarter of last night's game, there was a play to the right. A run play to the right. And Sidney Brown came up, recognizing the run play, and he wanted to make a stop at the line of scrimmage. So he enters the box and goes in. And Zaire Mitchell-Payton, I believe is how you say his name, is a 6'5", 256-pound tight end. He breaks off the line of scrimmage to make a block upfield. He finds Sidney Brown. They lock up for a second. And then Sidney Brown, blocking or trying to get through a block on a 6'5", 256-pound tight end. Sidney Brown is 5'10", 211 pounds. So he's at a 7-inch disadvantage. He is at a 45. He is at a 45-pound disadvantage. And he swatted Zaire Mitchell-Payton to the side like he was a rag doll and continued pursuit of the ball carrier. Maybe I'll get an opportunity to tweet this out later, but he just had his hands on him and just whap. Right hand, threw him out of his way, and went on to pursue the ball carrier. He didn't end up making the play, but he put himself in a position to at least be around the football. So that's when you say a guy's always around the football. It's not always a clear path to being around the football all the time. You got to clear your own space. So I loved seeing that. One of the things about Sidney Brown that John McMullen pointed out last night, and Tim McManus is actually going to join from ESPN. Tim McManus is going to join Derek Gunn and I. I'm sitting in again for Rob Ellis on Sports Take later today from 12 to 3. I think 12:30, Tim McManus is going to join us. But John McMullen credited Tim with this thought. One of the things we're all saying about Sidney Brown is how great he is to get after the ball carrier, how fast he plays. He's like a heat-seeking missile and all that stuff, and he can make some big plays. That's not necessarily a good thing for the Eagles. And in the Eagles' mind, this is why that's not a good thing. And I find this to be horribly fascinating, okay? One of the things that's not going to change from Jonathan Gannon to Sean Desai is that the Eagles' bottom line, Nick Sirianni, what he likes from his defense, this is the blueprint that he likes his defense to have, is you don't give up the big play. You don't give up the big play. Jonathan Gannon will allow 17 play drives, 18 play drives. He would do that. I think we can expect the same type of thing from Sean Desai and having an offense be able to dink and dunk their way down the field because you're playing back because you don't want to get beat. And maybe your corners, your safeties are going to be in a position where they can't be ball hawks. They can't try to jump a route. They can't do the Asante Samuel gamble when it comes to trying to get after maybe a slightly errant pass that you feel like you could jump the route of. Don't give up the big play. Sidney Brown is a guy that is looking for the big play. He, at the NFL level, has to understand the difference between gambling and then waiting for your opportunity. when they talk about his speed and his pursuit, it doesn't necessarily match up with what the Eagles like from their defense. That's horrifying to me, because to me, that means you're playing timid, you're playing scared. You're waiting for the mistake as opposed to making the mistake happen. That's what drove me so crazy about year one of Jonathan Gannon. Year two of Jonathan Gannon, your defense was going off, getting sacks left and right. So it was hard to say, oh, they're not aggressive. Well, yeah, they might not be aggressive in terms of blitzing, but they're aggressive in terms of winning their battles and getting after the quarterback and forcing mistakes. And for a long time during last season, the Eagles were one of the best teams in the NFL at forcing takeaways. So it's hard to make the argument that they weren't aggressive enough. But Sidney Brown in his position, where you're supposed to be one of the deepest men on the field, a lot of the times, that might not go to his benefit, the fact that he plays so fast and he plays so downhill. I'd rather have the guy that plays fast. I'd rather have the guy that plays downhill. Look, it comes down to smarts. If he's attacking the ball carrier, then go make that play. If he's in coverage, well, then you got to play, unfortunately, by Sidney Brown standards, most likely a little bit passive. So that's something that I know we'll get into today with Tim McManus when we talk to him, Gunner and I on Sports Take from 12 to 3. But that's just a question I'll have for him. John McMullen passed along that information, and it was literally the first thing I thought of when I woke up. The other thing I thought of was the second thing I thought of was I was like, damn, that was a long game. Yeah, it was a long as hell game. But yeah, I wanted to get those things in there about Sidney Brown. All right, let's start it off with Nakobe Dean. Not particularly a great appearance there by Nakobe Dean, especially with the penalty. They didn't put him in the backfield much. Saw him get blocked in a couple plays. It's his feet wet. I'm not freaking out. I'm not losing my mind over one preseason start for Nakobe Dean. The bottom line is they needed a play made at the line of scrimmage. At the goal line. And Nakobe Dean did the three things on one play that we said he could do. All right. He showed his smarts. He read the play. And he used his speed to get into the backfield and disrupt. Not only did he just disrupt, but he forced the ball loose, and the Eagles ended up getting the ball deep in their own territory and ended up, of course, leading to a safety by Kenny Gainwell. Thanks, Josh Sills, for that one. But anyway, he stepped up and he made the play. You saw Nick Sirianni jump up and down on the sideline. He went over to Nakobe Dean. Nakobe Dean came over and he slapped high fives with him and all that stuff. That was great. I loved seeing it because he showed the things that we knew he could do in college. He showed them at the NFL level, albeit preseason. Showed the smarts, recognized the play, made a good pursuit, got through the line of scrimmage, shot the gap, and made the fumble happen. If he can do that during the regular season, when a number one running back has his hands on the football, then it's going to be a very good season for Nakobe Dean. And he's going to take away any doubt people have of him being too small or not having enough experience to be a starting middle linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. He looked like a guy. He looked like the guy that we saw play at Georgia. He looked like a bulldog again. He looked like a Broad Street bulldog yesterday at Lincoln Financial Field. Generally speaking, not a great first day, but he did make a great play. And the only thing I asked for was give me a Jalen Carter moment. Give me one moment. Now, in more snaps than two, which is what Jalen Carter had against the Ravens. But give me a moment that I can just dine on until the preseason's over, until week one of the regular season. Give me one play to Nakobe Dean. He gave me one play. So I got what I asked for. So I will say stock up for Nakobe Dean after that. I mentioned Sidney Brown. I didn't give you a stock up or stock down. I'm going to go stock up still. After that performance yesterday. Let's stick with the linebackers here after Nakobe Dean. Christian Ellis last night. That series he had in the third quarter, I think it was, where he came up with the tackle after shedding a blocker, came up with another tackle after shedding a blocker, and then came up with the pass breakup all on one play. All on one series. That is fantastic. That's where he really, I think, he was showing himself off all night with his pursuit of the ball carrier, getting into the backfield, making tackles, shedding blocks, getting that pass breakup. I mean, he looked like a guy, I say it all the time, but he looked like a guy that absolutely belonged. I think it's going to come down to him and Zach Cunningham as the starters. I think Christian Ellis has a much better shot at being a starter than I thought originally. But I think the odd man out here is going to be Nicholas Morrow. Even for the resume he compiled in Chicago to show and prove that he's a quality starting linebacker, not a Pro Bowler by any means, but quality. I I think it's down to Christian Ellis and Zach Cunningham as your starters next to Kobe Dean, who's going to be your middle linebacker. I did not expect that. I thought Christian Ellis was turning some heads in training camp and certainly turned some heads last night and played well in the first preseason game also. But it's going to come down to him and Zach Cunningham. Now, speaking of Zach Cunningham, early in the game, making plays, late in the game, making plays for this team. Had a tackle for loss last night as well. So that was good to see. That one came late in the game. But he did everything possible. By the way, speaking of tackles for loss, Christian Ellis had 2 tackles for loss to lead the team last night. I believe he actually led the game. The only person with 2 tackles for loss last night was Christian Ellis. So you love to see that. But Zach Cunningham and Christian Ellis to come down to those 2 as the final battle, I think, for the second linebacker spot next to Nakobe Dean. And then we know Hassan Reddick will be worked in there. Understanding his thumb surgery. He's supposed to be ready for week 1, so hopefully that's the case. And then you're also going to have Nolan Smith mixed in there a lot as well with your edge rushers. So I look forward to seeing how that plays out. But after last night, probably the guy that helped his stock the most would be Christian Ellis. Let me jump to the quarterback spot here for a second, okay? When it comes to Marcus Mariota, I found this troubling. So he struggled big time. Okay, he had the interception last night, sailed a couple throws. In total, he was 9 of 17 passing for 86 yards and an interception. He was sacked 3 times. His quarterback rating was 42.8. All right, not his passer rating, his quarterback rating, 42.8. Holy Stromboli. Okay. Tanner McKee, on the other hand, was 10 of 18 for 147, including drops by Deion Kane, Tyree Cleveland. Yes, he did drop the ball, unfortunately, on the play that he got hurt. Deion Kane had another drop in the back of the end zone after Tanner McKee made a great job of rolling to his right to buy time. And credit to Deion Kane making the play, running from the other side of the field to give his quarterback an opportunity to have a target. And he hit his target, and Deion Kane unfortunately dropped the football. So if there is a backup quarterback competition, Tanner McKee is winning that by a mile. So here's what bothered me. Last night after the game, Nick Sirianni's addressing the media. And he goes out there and he's talking about how they got to find out what Marcus Mariota does well. A lot of this is us finding out what Marcus Mariota does well. It's a lot of this is finding out what Marcus he's been in the league for a while, man. You signed him to be your backup quarterback. You didn't already know what Marcus Mariota did well? That doesn't make any sense, Nick. I like Nick Sirianni, but that doesn't make any damn sense. Then he was asked about drafting Tanner McKee in the 6th round and whether or not Tanner McKee is surprising him with what he's doing in the preseason. And you know what he said? Well, we've done our homework on Tanner McKee. I'm like, have you never heard of Marcus Mariota before you signed him? What do you mean you got to find out what he does well? What do you mean? He's a quarterback. Throw the football accurately, please, and thank you, and that'd be good. Like grasping at straws to try to say something nice about Marcus Mariota, and then raving about Tanner McKee, and then saying, "Oh yeah, well we did our homework. We knew what we were getting." Well, what about Marcus Mariota, who's been in the league for 7 years? How long has Marcus Mariota been in the league now? What the hell? Yeah, 8 years. We need to find out what he does well. I might be able to help with that. RPO, not great at throwing the football. He's lost 2 starters' jobs at the NFL level. We didn't do that homework. We did it on the 6th round pick out of Stanford. That's what we did our homework on. The question did come up last night. I think this is Tim McManus asking the question about if Tanner McKee has any shot of being the Eagles' number 2 quarterback behind Jalen Hurts. Here you go.
Big on competition, Nick. Does Tanner have a shot of earning the number 2 job, or is that kind of we're way too early?
Yeah, you're way too early on that. Marcus is our backup, and pleased with the way Tanner's playing.
I hate to do it, but we got ourselves a hypocrite. I mean, let's just call it for what it is. I love Nick Sirianni. I'm not going to do a lot of criticizing Nick Sirianni because I think he's a very good head coach. I think he delegates great, and he's already been in a Super Bowl and blah, blah, blah. I like Nick Sirianni a lot. But this is BS. This is the We love competition. Competition, a core value. We got competition, core value, competition. One of our key principles is like competition. Marcus Mariota sucks in the preseason. Still his job. Tanner McKee plays great in the preseason. Not his job. A little early on that one. And look, we had Mike Missinelli on the post-game show last night with me and Derek Gunn, and Mike Missinelli was talking about how there's just no way that they're going to have Tanner McKee as their backup quarterback to Jalen Hurts. They're going to go out there and probably sign some veteran to come in here and be the backup quarterback. There was talk about Nick Foles possibly coming back to Philadelphia. I'm fine with it. I know that there's some people that would say you can't do that in Philly. He's a Super Bowl winner. You can't put that behind Jalen Hurts. Why would you do that to Jalen Hurts? I'll tell you why. Because Jalen Hurts ain't Carson Wentz. Jalen Hurts, you put whoever you want behind me. Guess where they're going to be by the time the day's over? Behind me. Guess where they're going to be by the time the season's over? Behind me. Not Carson Wentz. Is he there? Is he there? Is he passing me? Is he passing me? In the words of one of my favorite philosophers of all of time, Satchel Paige, don't look back. Something might be gaining on you. Carson Wentz does not apply that philosophy to his thought process. Jalen Hurts does. He does apply that. I'm not going to worry about the guy behind me because I got this. But Marcus Mariota, 87 regular season games he's appeared in. He's thrown about 2,100 passes at the NFL level. He's completed about 62.6 of them. I think we know Marcus Mariota. Not that good. He's not that good. Competition, core value. Whose job is it? Oh, it's Marcus Mariota's job. Cool. You know he hasn't been playing right. Right? Oh, well, we got to go to get to know Marcus Mariota. Okay. Guy's been in the league since 2015. Yeah. All right. That doesn't make any damn sense. Brick, that doesn't make any sense. I love Lamp. That's where we're at when it comes to the quarterback situation right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. And it doesn't feel good. The backup quarterback situation with Philadelphia. Here's what I'll say. Last night, I'll rank the Philadelphia Eagles quarterbacks to throw a football. Okay. Number one, the best that I saw throw a football last night, that was Tanner McKee. Number two was Jalen Hurts after he caught that pass on the sideline. That was awesome. Got a big ovation, raised his hands. He embraced it, turned around, threw the football into the crowd. And I thought, aha, this guy's got midseason form already for Jalen Hurts, that throw. And then third was Marcus Mariota. That's my rankings for last night. That's my rankings. All right. So that's the quarterback position right there. Let's talk about Tyler Steen. He was one of the guys on my list going into last night's game. 3rd round pick, going to be a right guard for this team. Played left tackle last night, also played right guard. Tyler Steen, ladies and gentlemen. Second quarter, they're interviewing Dallas Goedert on the sideline. Dallas Goedert, of course, not suited up. He's just got the earpiece in. And he's got the microphone on. And he's being interviewed by Scott Graham and Ross Tucker. While they're interviewing him, or just before they interviewed him, just before they started that interview, Tyler Steen got called for a false start penalty. So then they start the interview. And on the field, where they have they make it the 2 box, okay? Double boxes there. You got Dallas Goedert on one box, and then you got the game on the other box, right? So I'm watching that. And then I see that they all stop playing again. And I'm like, there's another false start. There's another penalty on somebody? And then I'm looking, and I see they get the shot of Tyler Steen again. And I went, did Tyler Steen just get back-to-back false start penalties? And that's exactly what happened. Look, that's a really bad look for him. And I know a lot of people will dine on that. And that's a mistake made by a rookie playing in an NFL stadium. And he's got a quarterback whose cadence he's trying to get used to. I have high hopes for Tyler Steen down the line. I think he's got great foot movement. I think he's got the smarts to be able to adapt from left or right tackle to play the guard position when he's called upon to do so. I think Jeff Stoutland and Stoutland University will work their magic with him either way. Even if I'm overselling him, I think eventually they'll get him to a point where down the line he is a very big piece of this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line. There is no excuse for back-to-back false start penalties. No excuse whatsoever. There's nothing I could say to make anybody feel better about that. Penalties in general were a big problem for the Eagles last night. On the field goal attempt where fortunately Cade missed both of them. Well, fortunately, like I give a damn if he misses in the preseason or makes it. But the Eagles ended up giving him a second chance with a penalty. There were 11 penalties in the game in total. Look, you don't want to see injuries and you don't want to see penalties. You want to see with penalties, it makes you feel like your team isn't ready. It makes you feel like they're not mentally focused. It makes you feel like their coach hasn't made them mentally focused for the game. So Nick Sirianni got asked about the 11 penalties in last night's game, and here's what Nick Sirianni had to say.
Yeah, those will drive you crazy as a coach. They'll drive you crazy as a team, right? And so, I wouldn't you're always concerned when you have you never want to have things that we always talk about this. Don't master the things that require no talent, right? And so pre-snap penalties, we believe that's one of those things, and so. We got to figure out what happened. Like, was it the cadence? Was it Tyler? What was it? Like, we'll figure out what happened. There's early talks of it, obviously, because you're trying to get it fixed during the game. But you never want to see those. Like, and then going to the field goal. Like, the guy missed the one again. But I mean, those are just penalties those are things that get you beat. And
I love the idea of just master the things. That take no talent, just focus, master that. I love that from Nick Sirianni, and he's right though. It will drive you crazy because it makes you look like you're not prepared. And seeing 11 penalties like that last night, that is dreadful. There's no excuses there for the Philadelphia Eagles, and 11 penalties. Just like there's no excuses, even if you are a rookie, there's no excuses there for Tyler Steen to be jumping offside. So if I got to give an official ruling for Tyler Steen, I got to say it. Stock down. Going stock down right there. Running backs. One of the things I told you guys yesterday I'm going to be looking forward to is seeing the deployment of running backs. Kenny Gainwell got a touch last night. How many rushes did he have in total? He had 2 carries for 6 yards. As long as it was 8, including getting the safety there. We saw Kenny Brooks lead the team in carries last night. Kennedy Brooks, excuse me. And then Trey Sermon had 5 carries for 54 yards and a horrible fumble. Look, I know he had the big touchdown. He had great blocking in front of him. I don't care. The fumble can't happen. You know what's funny about that fumble, though, with the Trey Sermon fella? Is as he was carrying the football, he had it high and tight. And I'm like, good for him. High and tight, protect the fumble. Like, literally, as the thought was running through my head, I was like, oh, he's got it high and tight. He came down with it a little bit when I think he was trying to shield himself from the block. And it was Diabate who was making the play on that, I think, yesterday. He ended up forcing the ball out. And I thought, well, Trey Sermon, your time is done. He did have a bounce back play where he ran for the touchdown. That was nice to see, a 33-yard touchdown score. But Dennis Kelly, I think it was Brett Toth, made huge blocks on that. I mean, they were double teaming the guy. They just put him on roller skates and pushed him back. Also, by the way, speaking of Dennis Kelly, I'm going to go just jump to him real quick. Stock definitely up for him. I'll put a bow on Trey Sermon. Stock down. Kenny Gainwell did get 2 carries. One was the safety, so that wasn't good. So I got to go stock down there, but that's more on the offensive line more so than anything. Josh Sills, most notably. So I'll go stock down there, unfortunately, because I can't have a guy have 2 carries, one of them be a safety, and say, oh, yeah, great game. So that's a bit of an issue. Let me talk about Dennis Kelly. I think he's going to end up making this team. Veteran player, can play guard, can play tackle wherever you need him. So he could be that Swiss Army knife. He could be a Swiss Army knife along like a guy like Jack Driscoll as well. Play basically wherever you need him to play. So I think he's going to end up making this team. But how about this? Dennis Kelly goes out there and makes a block on a screenplay, which was fantastic. Seeing him get off the line of scrimmage and go upfield and make a block. And then he had that play along with Brett Toth in driving back. I think it was the linebacker. No, it was their defensive tackle that was trying to come up and make a play on the Trey Sermon touchdown run. So Dennis Kelly, stock up. Running backs, not so great last night, unfortunately. Rashad Penny still looks good. He had 2 carries for 18 yards. So 9 yards a carry? Yeah, I think I'll take that. Not too shabby, including a 16-yard run, by the way. So I'll go stock up when it comes to Rashad Penny. Everybody else, stock down in the running back room. Corners, man. Cornerbacks last night. Eli Ricks, bro. bro. Falling down, getting beat. That's not good. Keely Ringo, dude. What the hell was that? Second quarter of last night's game, 3rd and 3. Keely Ringo has his man covered extremely well. Extremely well. Even as holding his jersey. And as he's doing that, he turns to look for the football and has no idea where the football is. Spoiler, Keely Ringo, it was over your head. Right in the receiver's arms, he makes the play. He looks like a damn fool on that play. Got to be better than that at the NFL level. Got to be better than that. He just looked lost on that play. And the thing was, he had decent coverage. Decent coverage. He was right there to make a play. His mind was not there with him. His focus was not there with him. Turned around, looked for a football. Okay, good. Make a play on the football? Not good. It was one of the strangest plays preseason and regular season that I've ever seen. Because he was literally looking where he should have been looking and did not see the football. He just stood there. If he would have saw it, just get a hand up, bat it down, maybe intercept it. I don't know. But that was not exactly a great play by Keely Ringo. Eli Ricks had one particular play where I thought he had really good coverage, and then just a perfect back shoulder throw, and he got beat on it, so that was that. And then he had another play where he fell down. I've talked about Tanner McKee, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, for what you saw from them last night. Well, yeah, it's good. Impressed. Ben Von Sumeren, special teams tackle, also made a good open field tackle, also batted down a ball. If you guys remember, before training camp, one of the guys I was like, I don't really see it. People are telling me about this raw talent from Ben Von Sumeren. Yeah, it's great. I don't need raw talent. I need to see talent. I need to see a guy perform at the linebacker position. I need to see a guy perform when it comes to special teams. Did both those things last night. Yeah, definitely you can see raw talent, but I like to see talent. And he showed the talent last night. I thought his stock was very much up. Look, when I say stock up for a guy like Ben Von Sumeren, I'm not saying that he's going out there and he's going to be a starter for you this year. I'm not even saying he's going to make the 53-man roster, but he has made a case for himself on the practice squad with the way he performed last night and the way he really has been performing in the preseason over 2 games. And apparently they also like the way that he's practicing. So I'm all about it. I'm all about it, folks, when it comes to Ben Von Sumeren. I'm buying in. Tyree Jackson. We have been waiting for him to make a play. Tanner McKee comes into the ball game. His favorite target was Ngata. Great to see that. They connected on a couple of good throws there, a couple of good plays. And then Tyree Jackson makes a big play down the sideline. Tanner McKee again rolling to his right, finds him downfield, hits Tyree Jackson in stride for a 35-yard gain. You love to see that. And then Brady Russell, same type of play, rolling to his right. Tanner McKee hits Brady Russell, a special teamer, tight end position there, who also made a play on special teams as well. Reeled in that pass for 22 yards and the touchdown. It was a thing of beauty. Johnny King had the 2-point conversion. Love that. Also, when it comes to Brian Johnson, I've said all preseason, all training camp, that the biggest question mark is your coordinators. If you talk about your coordinators and stock up, stock down with either of them, first thing I'll say is this. Draw up that 2-point conversion. Draw up plays for your quarterback to roll to his right when he's not exactly known as being a mobile quarterback, and your quarterback making those plays and being comfortable. Big credit to Brian Johnson. You're not game planning. You're just seeing what your guys can do. Did a great job of seeing what a guy like Tanner McKee could do last night. On the other side of that, so I'll give a thumbs up for Brian Johnson. Stock up for Brian Johnson. Sean Desai. I just talked about Ben Van Sumeren. Sean Desai sent him on a couple of blitzes. Sean Desai, we don't blitz here. What are you doing? What are you, crazy? Blitz a guy? But I saw it last night, so I'm gonna go stock up for Sean Desai. Yeah, that's what I'll do right there. But Tyree Jackson, good to see him make a play last night for the Eagles, so that was a nice thing to look at. Brady Russell, I mentioned. Oh, Kayvon Wallace was back in the game. Eagles did this with some other guys. Zach Cunningham was one of them as well. Eagles, I look up in the fourth quarter, all of a sudden, Kayvon Wallace is back in the game. I asked John McMullen about it during postgame last night, and he just said, well, somebody's got to play. I said, well, that's that. The math would add up to that. That's basically what it comes down to. Somebody had to play. And Zach Cunningham, his number got called again late, as did Kayvon Wallace. So defensively speaking, you saw those guys back out there. Teron Jackson had a couple of good plays. I would say his stock was up after last night. Josiah Scott had himself a tackle for loss. Good to see that for Josiah Scott. Rooting for you, fella. Justin Evans. Not a much there. Don't really know what his role is going to be, if he's going to have a role at all. But they did use him in punt return, and he promptly fumbled the football, so that was cool. Terrell Edmonds, really not a lot to get into there. Stock up, sure. There you go. I'll give you an easy grade there. And that concludes my list for last night. Oh, no, wait, hold on a second. Pots and pans. When the hell was this? Was this the fourth quarter? Yeah. Fourth quarter of last night's game. I think I got all these names. I wrote down their numbers and then double-checked, but here you go. So Kellen Mond is behind. He's under center in the fourth quarter. Eagles have the Browns backed up on the goal line. You know where we're going with this yet? Yeah, okay. If you didn't see this, Mond goes back into his own end zone. Janarius Robinson gets a hand in on Mond to try to force a fumble. Does not do it. Then Teron Jackson, Moro Amojo, and Ben Van Sumeren. Okay? Near strip, whiff, missed tackle, whiff. And Kellen Mond ended up scrambling for 6 yards on the play to get a first down. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 Eagles whiff on making a play on fourth string quarterback Kellen Mond on that play. And I just remember thinking like cut, released. That might be what comes out today. But not the best look. And then terrible look, unfortunately, not even a terrible look. I don't even want to diminish it because the guy got hurt and got stretchered off the field. But Moro Ojomo ended up getting stretchered off the field, but he had an opportunity to make a play. He did not. But obviously, I hope he's okay. Tyree Cleveland, by the way, and Moro Mojo did have movement in their extremities, so that's obviously a great sign. So less worry there. So good to see that. Nick Sirianni did not get into details after the game about what was going on with either of those two players, but it was talked about afterwards, saying that all of them had movement in their extremities. So great to see that. So overall last night, a lot of the young guys that were looking to make a bigger name for themselves or carve out a bigger role for themselves or their odds of making the team, a lot of them did really help their odds. The only real stock down, back-to-back penalties aren't going to help you, Tyler Steen. So I'll take that away, say that his stock was down after last night. And then I think it was Janarius Robinson who had the penalties or who had the penalty to allow a second attempt at the field goal. Got to say stock down right there. Eli Ricks, stock down, unfortunately for him. Oh, Zach McPherson. It felt like the first 10 plays of the game, Dorian Thompson-Robinson was just targeting your boy, Zach McPherson. Like something terrible. I don't know if he's got something against him, but man, he was just hammering him. Every play was Zach McPherson. That's how Zach McPherson is one of the leaders in tackles in this game because everything was to him in the early goings of the game. So there you go. There you go. There's my official grades for last night's game. And let me just say this. We don't really do this too often, but I do mean this. I have to say this. Thank you, NFL, for one of the greatest decisions in the modern sports era to no longer allow preseason games to go into overtime. Thank you, NFL. Much appreciated. So that's where I'm at with all that. Hey, before I get to the Phillies, and they start their series tonight with the Nationals, 7:05 in D.C., I got to mention this. Again, I'm not going to be held hostage, but if news comes out, I'm going to talk about it. James Harden spoke to KHOU 11 in Houston. Spoke to Jason Bristol last night. And Jason Bristol asked him. Now, again, this is after James Harden came out and said that Daryl Morey is a liar and he'll never be a part of an organization that Daryl Morey is also a part of. Let me say that again. Daryl Morey is a liar. Okay. So that begs the question. Can your relationship be repaired? Okay. James Harden by saying, okay, so he's asked the question, is it too late to repair the relationship with the Sixers? I think so, says James Harden. Okay. Not breaking news. That should be fairly obvious to all of us. So then he goes on to say, I've been patient all summer. When he was asked about how much patience he needs to go through this situation and watch it play out. James Harden goes on to say, for me, it's just focus on what I can control, and that's working out, staying in shape, and getting ready for a good season. Staying in shape, eh? It is a fat suit. To the people on the podcast, it is definitely a fat suit. As I've told you guys, the Sixers have already lost the trade. The Sixers have already lost the trade. They were going to lose it already. Now they're going to get blown out in the trade. Phillies are back at it tonight, 7:05 start time in South Philadelphia. Excuse me, in Washington, D.C. when they started this 3-game series with the Nationals. Michael Lorenzen will get the start against the Nats. Can't wait to see it. His first start since the no-hitter. My one request for the Phillies, is you had a day off, second day off of the week. There is no reason Bryce Harper should be doing anything other than playing first base tonight. He should be playing first base tonight. Jay Cave, Weston Wilson, Brandon Marsh, big hit for the Iron Pigs last night. I didn't like how he went into second. He went into second rather gingerly. But Brandon Marsh could be back with the big league ball club sooner rather than later. But yeah, 7:05 start time. So maybe he's in left field tonight. Maybe Jay Cave's out there. Maybe Weston Wilson's out there. We'll see what actually happens. But John Aiden will go and get the start for the Nationals tonight. He's coming off an injury as well. 25-year-old right-handed pitcher, 5.14 ERA on the season. He's got just 2 starts under his belt so far, so we'll see what he's got going on here. But yeah, that game starts at 7:05 tonight. Look forward to the Phillies getting back in action tonight. Did I say it wrong, Mike? Mike is right. Ojomo. I'm saying Ojomo. Am I not? I believe I'm saying Ojomo correctly. Anyway, let's get to the chat. Check and see how you wonderful people are doing on this fine morning. Started over here on the Farzy Show chat. What's going on? Sean Gillespie, Sean Kilrain, a good morning. What's going on, boys? We got the Sean's just piping out here. Mia Sanchez, what's going on? Travis, what's going on? All right, let's see what we got going on here with you guys. It'd be really nice if this worked. Please work. No. Why are you being weird? Not you guys in the chat. My computer. Sean Leslie, good morning. Sean Leslie, just got to keep in mind preseason concerning Mariota. Preseason, please don't get hurt. Jalen Hurts. I'm with you, but bottom line is, you need to have a backup quarterback that you have confidence in. It's not like you don't want to. It's the backup quarterback position is a weird thing for coaches, fans, the backup quarterback himself. Because it's like, I hope you never play, but if you do, you better be ready. Like, you can't suck. I don't have any confidence. If the unfortunate status quo stays the same with Jalen Hurts, where he misses 2 games, I don't got confidence in. I have more confidence in Gardner Minshew than I do Marcus Mariota. And Nick Sirianni is saying we need to find what Marcus Mariota does well. Really? That's some weak sauce, bro. That's weak. Sean Kilrain, you need guys that are going to go balls to the wall for our defense. I agree. He goes on to say, Cunningham will be our TJ Edwards, hopefully. That is the case. If that's the case, Farzy, why was Jack playing with the third unit? Shake my head. Same reason, because they needed bodies. They needed guys to go out there. It was a very long game, a lot of snaps. Actually, I meant to look this up because it did feel like, obviously, it felt like a really long game, not just a regular old preseason long game, but a really long game. Where we had total plays, holy pots and pans. The Browns had 83 total plays last night. Jeez. Not to invoke this name, but that's a Chip Kelly number. 83 plays? Good God. Eagles only had 60 or 59. They had 59 plays last night. So, yeah, they basically just needed bodies. Like, somebody's got to play. If you got that many snaps, you got to have different guys out there. You don't want to be killing these guys in the old preseason, right? Definitely balls to the wall. No being timid, only in the intelligent way. I agree, Sean Gillespie. Sean Conrad, I think Morrow is out, like you said. They said probably goes on the practice squad. It's quite possible. Nick, you have to talk to Chip Kelly about Mariota. Mariota can't even throw a tantrum. Quoted from the Jacob Media chat. Was that last night, Sean? That's great. Mia Sanchez, what's going on? That's why it's preseason. Eagles are ready for week one. Mariota's a backup for a reason. Fly, Eagles, fly. Yeah, but here's the thing. And here's what bothers me about veterans versus young guys that look good, okay, in the preseason. I know what Marcus Mariota is. I think we should all know what Marcus Mariota is. The Eagles should know what Marcus Mariota is. If he's showing you, if Marcus Mariota is showing you that he can't throw consistently and accurately, and he's showing you also that he's a guy that has 2 times lost his job as a starter in the NFL. It doesn't just mean because it doesn't just mean a guy can't start that it means he'll be a good backup quarterback. If a guy loses his starting job twice, it doesn't just mean that, oh, he's better suited as a backup. Yeah, he might be better suited as a backup, but it might also mean that he's just not a good quarterback. That's the harsh reality of it. Now, Tanner McKee, on the other hand, because he doesn't have experience, he doesn't have a track record, you don't know what could go out there. He could go out there, and he could be this much better. As we have seen in the preseason, he could be this much better than Marcus Mariota right now. But we don't know that because we don't know his resume. We know the resume of Marcus Mariota. Apparently, the Eagles don't. So, yeah. Tanner McKee might be better. He might go on to have a better career than Marcus Mariota. Like, you don't know. But here's what I do know. I know what you're going to get from Marcus Mariota, and it ain't that good. It's not a high bar to beat. That's why when you talk about the young guys, people are always like, well, you can't go. He's inexperienced. He's too young. Really? But what if he's just good? What if he's just better? We don't know that yet. But it's not like Marcus Mariota is like, well, he's got to be better than a Hall of Fame quarterback like Marcus Mariota. No, it doesn't have to be that. He's got to be better than a guy who is now doomed to be a backup. Somebody mentioned bringing in Carson Wentz. Hey, he wouldn't get a chance to add to his collection of, team apparel. What is it? The Eagles helmet, the Commanders jersey, and the Colts shorts. So we just keep the Eagles helmet. There we go. Look at that. Just get him a Kelly Green. We'll be all set. Kidding, of course. Kidding. Mia Sanchez, hello. So what's preseason? 2 of 3 for the Nationals is great. Hey, screw it. Sweep the Nationals. Only acceptable outcome. Van Wilder will make the squad, says Sean Kilrain. Write that down. Sean Kilrain, our defense. Our defense from front rotation is going to be scary for teams this season. Pick your poison. I'm telling you right now, I know people will scoff at the idea of getting more sacks than last year. And yeah, 70 is going to be tough, but I think they're going to get, I think this is at least a 50 sack team. I think you could be flirting with 60, 70. Yeah, that's a piping hot take, but I don't think it's impossible. The idea of having Nolan Smith and Hassan Reddick is a huge X factor. Having the push in the middle of your line of scrimmage that you're expecting from both Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, that sounds pretty dangerous to me. And if Sean Desai, let's just say this too, if Sean Desai blitzes even a little bit more, if he is even a little bit more aggressive, then yeah, you're gonna have a big opportunity because you obviously weren't getting that from Jonathan Gannon. Oh, I missed that. Sean Kilrain. Steen's facial expression totally said I messed up. I didn't see his facial expression, but I can only imagine. Travis Ricklin, what's up? Jalen Carter need to start 3 defensive tackle and 2 pass rushers. That's a smart move. 3 defensive tackles, 2 pass rushers. Yeah, I like that. I'll go with that. One thing I do like that Sean Desai is doing, and I know I questioned it, but I do like it overall, is I love getting guys as versatile as possible, as multidimensional as possible. And Jordan Davis lining up as a defensive end in the first preseason game, I think is a great thing. Have that opportunity. I absolutely love that. And then have the opportunity to have Hassan Reddick and Nolan Smith maybe in on the same play, and Brandon Graham maybe on one other side of the line of scrimmage, Josh Sweat on the other side as well. Yeah, I love all that. Professor Dutch. What's up, Professor Dutch? Philly's about to go on a run. Damn right. Boomer Farzy moments happens to the best of us. I can't push buttons. Professor Dutch, I have the word weird tattoo. Don't feel bad. Okay. Wait, hold on a second. Thank you, Farzy, for the goods. We Eagles fans are the luckiest fools out there these past years. Philly Dogs era starting now. I hope so. Professor Dutch, I can't think football yet. Too emotionally invested in the fightings, ready to get hurt again. I'm kind of the same way. I find myself just trying to keep up with the Eagles. But like my emotion, and I think everyone's emotion right now should be with the Phillies. I mean, they're the team that's playing some meaningful games right now. Obviously, the Eagles are. I mean, they're playing preseason football. We're trying to evaluate to project for what they could be doing when they open their season in a couple of weeks up in New England. On game days, I'll be emotionally invested in the Eagles, but again, on game days, I'll be emotionally invested in the Phillies, like because the Phillies have more of those. But that's the nature of the beast when it comes to football. I can't think of football yet too much. Sean Kilrain, what's up? Moria had no right to be in the quarterback documentary series. What the hell was Peyton thinking? Peyton Manning, of course, the executive producer. I believe he got that title with that show. Here's what I figured out. I haven't finished watching the series yet. I've kind of gotten sidetracked with it, but Kirk Cousins isn't losing his job. Okay, so let's put it like this. I think they had 3 great tiers of quarterbacks to tell 3 different stories. They had the best in the business. Like, think about this. They do the quarterback show. The best in the business in Patrick Mahomes is in that series. Then they have a guy who's a really good starting quarterback. He's not the best. He's far from the worst. He's a really good starting quarterback in Kirk Cousins. So, not that he's the middle of the road, but between Patrick Mahomes the best, Kirk Cousins in the middle, and then way down there, Marcus Mariota, a guy that could lose his starting job. They covered every facet of quarterback. The best, the guy that's more in the middle of the road, but still really good. And then the guy that could lose his job at any second. I thought they did a great job. I think I've seen 4 episodes. Got the rest to go, but that's one of the things. Like, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, why would you even have Marcus Mariota? And I'm like, well, why would you have Kirk Cousins? And I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. This is actually perfect. Light bulb went off. See that? I am learning. We learn together. What else do we got here? Jumping over to the Jacob Media YouTube channel. What's going on? Babs. Good morning, Babs. Good morning, Farzy. Even though the Eagles played last night, I missed the Phillies. It's time for a stretch run. Let's go. And then Mike Wright is just saying Ojomo. Thoughts and prayers? I don't know. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great, as per usual. I will be back in the saddle with you wonderful people coming up in a little bit when I talk all things Eagles, Sixers, Phillies with Derek Gunn coming up at noon today. So bonus me today. You get 3 more hours. I talked to Derek Gunn, a man I greatly admire. I talked to Derek Gunn for 4.5 hours yesterday. 3 hours of sports take, and then 1.5 hours in post game. Now, hopefully today, Derek Gunn will do. Let's see. Yesterday he did his Lucky Charms leprechaun impression, which literally made me cry. I cried tears while laughing. That's how funny it was. And then last night he did the Mo or Curly from the Three Stooges. And I didn't think I'd ever see Derek Gunn do impressions. Speaking of versatility, the man's very versatile, but I didn't know he had those talents in him. But we'll talk to Derek Gunn. I'll get a chance to talk to Derek Gunn again today. So there you go. Travis Rickett, I know, guys, I'm just not into the baseball vibe. I'm sorry, fam. All good. I get it. I get it. Not everybody's a baseball person. Not everybody's 4 for 4, man, or 5 for 5, 6 for 6 with the Union and the Wings, baby. I get it. Thanks, everybody. I'll be back with you guys. Oh, get this. Okay, so I'll be with you guys at 12 o'clock today, Sports Day. And then I'll be back with you guys for the Phillies Fighting's post-game show here on the Jacob Media YouTube channel as well. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. Coming up at 8 o'clock on the Jacob Media YouTube channel, you can check out our friends Johnny Mac and Jody Mac for Birds 365. They'll be recounting everything from last night's game. Jim Hyden produced the program, did a wonderful job as per usual. My name is Mark Farzy. I'll catch you guys later today on Sports Take, then tonight, then I'll catch you guys again on Monday. Until then, have a wonderful weekend, everybody, in case I don't see you. Have a great one. Talk to you soon. Bye.